Hey everybody, what's going on? Disney Vet here. So yesterday we talked about the D23 and what it meant for Walt Disney World. So D23 wasn't just about Walt Disney World though. It also dropped some pretty big news for Disneyland, international parks, and maybe even a new international park. So that's what we're going to look at today and go through. So this is going to be more information because I don't really have experience with international parks or Disneyland, so I don't really have an opinion on it. But please feel free to throw your opinion down at the bottom. So, Disneyland's Tomorrowland is getting a major renovation done. The first ever Coco attraction is coming. Avengers Campus is getting much bigger. And overseas, we have major changes to Space Mountain, Lion King attraction, Spider-Man, Wreck-It Ralph, and even more. So today we're going to head outside of Walt Disney World and break down what Disney announced for Disneyland, Disney parks across the world. Make sure you stick around because there are a couple international announcements that I think Disney fans here in the United States are going to wish we were getting. So let's start off with the biggest renovation coming, and that would be Disneyland's Tomorrowland. So it's getting fully reimagined. Disneyland says the idea behind this reimagination is to bring Tomorrowland back to optimism, innovation, and looking toward the future. This isn't just being described as some paint changes and some updates and some different colors. They're talking about changing the structure of some buildings. Still a lot we don't know. So right now, this is Disney telling us the direction they're heading rather than showing us the finished product. But considering that this is the Disneyland Tomorrowland that Walt Disney designed, I'm curious what they're going to do just to see how far they go with it or if they keep a lot of Walt's ideas in place. So now I was going to jump over to Disney California Adventure, the new Coco ride. I think this is amazing. I wish we were getting one in Disney World. But it's just more reason why I'm going to go to Disneyland and actually travel out there to visit that park. So, the story behind this ride is going to start about a year after what happened in the original Coco movie. It's going to follow Miguel to the land of the dead. And now Coco 2 is already in production. So, I'm curious if this story is going to be right in between that, where a year after Coco and then right before Coco 2 starts. So, that'd be kind of cool if they put it right there in the middle. It's going to be a boat ride. I love boat rides, so I'm not mad about this. I think that for certain movies, boat rides are the best, or slow rides are the best because how colorful they are and just the details they have to put into it. So, the way the culture celebrates the dead and how colorful it is, I believe that this is going to be probably one of the most colorful rides that Disney's ever had. Now, not to take anything away from the Navarre River ride because that's gorgeous, but as many colors as they have the potential to use in the new Coco ride, I believe this is going to be amazingly beautiful. So I'm kind of looking forward to see what it looks like when the product's finished. Okay, second California adventure. Let's talk about the Avengers Campus. It's getting bigger. I don't know how big it is because I've never been there, but it's getting bigger. They're putting two new attractions dead center of the campus. The first is going to be Avengers Infinity Defense, which you guys will become recruits to the Avengers, and then you'll battle, the biggest villains that Marvel battled during their movies. That I do know during this, I know that Robert Downey, like a lot of the original Avengers are coming back for this to do the voiceovers. So I think that's really cool. This is all done. I would definitely have to make a trip out to Disney, like I said, because Disney World doesn't have Avenger rides the way Disneyland does. I wish they would add a couple of Avenger rides out here, but I get it. So the other ride they're adding is the Stark Flight Lab. So both of these are scheduled to open sometime in 2028. So maybe a Disneyland trip in 2029. So with this expansion, it's also going to reconnect the Avengers Campus with the Cars Land. So they'll be connected, which is a major step forward for the California Adventure Park. All right, so a lot of the Disneyland entertainment was mentioned. I've never seen any of this entertainment, so I don't know what they were talking about. But evidently, the fireworks spectacular from the Disneyland, some of the entertainment's returning to Disneyland. Dreams Come True fireworks spectacular. Let me know if it was better than what they have now. Full Color returns in 2027, and they have the Magic Happens Parade returning in the summer of 2027. So with all these entertainment things they're bringing back, it should bring Disneyland back to with Disney bringing back these entertainment options. So just let me know what you think about the entertainment options coming back, or if you currently like what's already there. So now we're going to shoot overseas and leave California. So some of the most D23 announcements are not coming out of Disney World or Disneyland. They're coming from the international parks. And let's go ahead and head over to Paris because they're redoing Space Mountain. So the current Star Wars themed hyperspace is going away. And Disney has decided to bring back the original Jules Verne design Space Mountain, which I think is awesome. Disney seems to be going back to original setups on some of the older rides and some of the locations. Which, hey, if it works, right? If it worked for so long, let it keep on going. So Space Mountain wasn't the only Disneyland Paris announcement. You also have the Lion King ride. So this is the first major attraction Lion King has ever gotten, which is crazy to me because it was a very, very popular cartoon. And they made a second one. They made a live action. I do not understand why they're just now getting to the actual attraction. This one's supposed to follow Simba. Some issues between Simba and Scar, so I think it's going to be kind of cool. Right now, they do not have a date on this, so more to come with that. So now, over to Tokyo Disneyland, which you have Space Mountain Earthrise. So another variation of Space Mountain. I know it happens a lot. So they're not upgrading the existing Space Mountain. They're completely replacing it. And this is part of a much bigger redevelopment of Tomorrowland at Tokyo Disney than just Space Mountain. So let's look at and let's take a second and compare what you have going on in Paris and what you have going on in Tokyo. Paris is like, okay, we're gonna go back to the original Jules Verne version. And Tokyo is like, nah, we're gonna go way ahead and we're gonna go futuristic with it. And then we're gonna completely redesign Tomorrowland and put new buildings and update everything around it. So now you gotta go to both to see which one you like better. So speaking of Tokyo as well, nope, not gonna go there. So another thing they announced for Tokyo Disneyland is the Wreck-It Ralph. So it's gonna be called Sugar Rush Sweet Rescue. So it seems from looking at it, it almost seems like a ride where you're gonna have to and be interactive while staying ahead of King Candy. So we'll see what it looks like in the end. They do not have a date on it. Okay, Shanghai Disneyland. They're getting a new Spider-Man. So Shanghai Disneyland is not getting just a new Spider-Man attraction. They're getting a fully Spider-Man themed area, which is pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to include all three Spider-Mans or include all the different stories with the multiverse, but we'll see what happens. I know they're going to have Spider-Bots and Web involved, so we'll just kind of how this happens. And I guess I'm going to become an international traveler. So that was a major that was a major update for Shanghai Disneyland. Now over in Hong Kong Disneyland, they're getting a new Avengers Pavilion at Stark Expo. So it's getting Avenger Research Testing Labs along with the Quinjet platform. I'm curious what it's going to look like. I think it's pretty cool. So between all the locations we talked about, I think one of the coolest things coming is going to be whenever they start breaking ground and start building the new theme park in Abu Dhabi. Disney's expanding even more internationally, which and the over there is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's going to be more modern, but we'll have to see what happens just because of the way they designed the buildings over there. But yeah, so it was going internationally. So another big announcement was the Disney Cruise Line is adding a new ship. Well, not only are they adding a new ship, they're adding a whole new type of ship. The size of it's going to be smack dab in between the middle of the old and the new. So they have their new smaller ships, they have their old smaller ships, they have their new bigger ships. Now the new line's going to go right in the middle of it, which is, hey, it's supposed to set sail sometime in 2027. So I think that's kind of cool. Moana's going to be in the Grand Ballroom. Nope. Moana's going to be in the Grand Hall. You're going to have Tinkerbell on the bow and Buzz Lightyear and Woody on the stern. I think it's cool. You know, I say a lot, but I think what Disney's doing is they're just getting better with what they can do over time. So let's look at everything together. Disney's not only investing in Disney World, they're not only investing in Disneyland, they're investing in every park they have overseas, plus investing in a new park. On top of that, they're also investing in the cruise line. So everything Disney has, they're putting money back into to improve it, to make it better, to add stuff. There's going to be a lot happening over all the Disney. There's a lot happening over all the Disney experiences over the next several years. So you're not going to have anything that you're going to have stuff that you've never done at Disney over the next several years, whether it be Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Paris, Shanghai Disney, Tokyo Disney, Hong Kong Disney. Whenever they get the Abu Dhabi Disney open, the Disney Cruise Line, there's all kinds of stuff coming. So, which of all the announcements do you like the best? Which ones do you not like? Which ones do you think is going to could potentially hurt the parks? So if you haven't, no. So go ahead and let me know that down in the comments. If you haven't watched part one, which I just talked about Disney World because I'm a Disney World guy, go back over and head over and watch that one. So in part three, we're going to leave the parks behind and we're going to concentrate on all the movie announcements, the shows, and then the new legends because I thought that was pretty cool. I've never watched the before, but that was pretty cool. So just make sure you go and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Y'all have a good one.